Hey there, Sank, everybody. Welcome back for another amazing episode of the MRHB Crypto Show. It's been some time. The markets are going wild, and we were away for some time. And we were away because of like Ramadan and work, and a lot of crazy things are happening. But we're back, and we're more excited than ever to talk about what's going on with the crypto market and in general. What's going on with like before that, Moby? What's going on? How's everything?
Man, alhamdulillah, everything's good. But we actually had our election today, our political election.
Ooh, interesting.
And my wife just told me that Labour won, which I didn't think was going to happen. To be honest, I don't really care. I just voted for whoever was good for Palestine or had the most pro-Palestinian choices,
Position.
and that happened. Position, that's a good word, and it happened to be the Greens, the Green Party. So I just voted for them. But man, apart from you're right, man. Like someone actually said to me, one of our listeners, who I really, I'm a fan of our fans, right? So he wasn't, I don't think he wasn't saying it in a bad way, but he was like, oh, looks like you've stopped shilling crypto. He said in a friendly way, and I'm like, dude, I'm not I don't shill crypto. Like, I'm not trying to shill anything. You know what I mean? It's the markets are like right now. I've just been busy with my own, obviously with Ramadan. My own business, my side business, or my main day job. We're going through some exciting stuff there, and we're just in a bear market. It's not a matter of because it's a bear market we've run, not at all. So I'll be talking about today what I'm doing in the bear market. But man, it's been exciting, man. It's been a really long time since we've caught up too, Ahmed. So yeah, what's news with you?
Nothing much. My life was pretty much the usual. Marhaba, marketing and operations and making sure the business is running, things are going on, and my YouTube channel. And then I started looking into a few other things on the side, seeing how that's doing. I have friends who have reached out to me, asking for some advice, and that's about it. And pretty much Ramadan's finished, so I'm a little bit down about that, but happy about what's upcoming and the big Eid that's coming. We call it Big Eid, but Eid al Adha, and excited to see about what's going to happen next with the crypto market. I mean, I this recent bear market, I forgot to act upon my own advice. I lectured, but I did not act upon my own lecture. I forgot to put in a stop loss for Terra Luna, and and I took a big hit. When I mean big hit, I mean a big hit. My profile is
Yeah.
devastated right now, and I'm trying to figure out what the plan and strategy is in regards to that. Do I leave it? I mean, it's worth nothing, so I should just leave it, or should I go more in, double down on it? Because there is a thing, and try to dollar cost average or just heavily go into it. Hopefully, it goes up by a few dollars. I make my money back, and I'm out, type of thing. I don't know. You
Yeah.
tell me, man. Let's get the. I guess
Yeah.
let's get the
It's
markets. Yeah.
someone was asking. So this is just an informal discussion about Terra Luna because it was a few weeks ago. I didn't even prepare anything around it. But someone was asking, and I think in the I think it was a Telegram group, Ahmed. Someone was asking you about Luna, and I sort of said, guys, like, um, this is one of those. It's one of those cases where you don't actually want to be right. So may God forgive me. I'm not like gloating here, but
Yeah.
we said this. We spoke about
Yeah.
this, right? Like
Yeah.
that it makes me nervous. It makes me really nervous. And you guys can go back, right? You actually can go back start of the year and we're talking about the tokenomics, the fact that for UST, which is the stable coin, which is now, all but dead, you have to burn Luna. And so obviously so there was some market manipulation that happened that the fact that this was open to exploit it's not forgivable. And I think Do Kwon or whatever his name is has a lot to answer for. Now, should he go to jail like some people are speculating? I don't necessarily think so. That's up to the courts. But man, like, people have reason to be mad at him. Like this death spiral happened. People were selling and then they had to burn more Luna and that crashed that price. And the thing I was most upset about is, and at the time they had bought AVAX too earlier this year, they bought AVAX for their treasury. And I was like, okay, it's interesting for the short term. But if it does crash, then it could bring AVAX down as well. So we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like the thing was, and I was just using my simple brain, right? Like my simple dumb brain, I was like, okay, you have a coin that's giving 20% APY,
Yeah.
right? 20% APY, UST. So, but the way markets work, the way a bank works, right? Like, you and I will deposit our money, we're depositing, and there's borrowing. There's two sides of the market. There's people who borrow that, and obviously this is not halal, but they take the interest from them and they give it to us, right?
Mm.
That's how that works. they had more people depositing and no demand for the product. So everyone's putting all this money in to get 20% APY, but no one's borrowing it. No one.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was actually costing them money. So that's what made me nervous. Like, it's
Yeah.
literally the definition of a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Literally taking other people's
Yeah.
money to pay other people, and you don't have this circular economy. Now, their view was, which I believe was a righteous view, that they were hoping to prop up the system and whatnot. But that's what made me nervous about it. No one's buying your product, but you have, people getting APY. But anyway, we live and we learn, right?
Exactly. But I mean, like coming from a accounting background, when you have things like this, there needs to be a left side equals right side. As you said, they're giving it, but there's no one borrowing. So that an unequal, when the left side does not equal the right side, when there's not a flow of the algorithms, it is bound to break. And I think catching that should have been pretty straightforward. And I mean, I remember me and you talking about it, and then me not going back and selling it or putting in a stop loss is a stupid thing on me. And I think I'm bearing the cost of my laziness, I guess, is the word I'm going to use.
That
And
happens.
you, yeah. Okay, so let's get the market updates going, and then inshallah after that, I'll cover up what's going on with Marhaba, and if we have time, we will go over some advice and some topics and stuff like that. Moby,
Awesome.
the floor is
Awesome.
yours. Educate
Yeah.
us.
So I guess I want to talk about, by this point, it should be very clear that we are in a bear market. Uh, People like, "Oh, it's a correction." They're using those terms interchangeably. But a bear market is when you have this sustained downward pressure where you are not breaking any of the levels that you need to. So
Hmm.
it's quite sustained. It's quite, like medium term right now. So it's
Yeah.
it's clearly not like just a correction. It's definitely a downturn. We're definitely in a bear market. Now, what I want to actually talk about is evidence or share some tools on why we're in a bear market. So I'm just going to share my screen here.
Hmm.
Now, this is a tool called Token Metrics. I've brought them up in the past. It's a paid subscription that I subscribe to. We're sharing some free insights from obviously our account. It's also home of Bill Noble, who's my favorite crypto analyst. He has his own show as well. But anyway, what these guys look at, they've got this recent new tool that they've released, and it's called the Token Metrics Market Indicator. Now, I will say this is not something I'm shilling. There is an affiliate link if you want to buy this yourself in the description, which helps the channel, and you get like a 10% life discount. But I've been using this since I started my crypto journey. I've been using this tool for a really long time. And what Token Metrics do, they look at artificial intelligence, machine learning. They look at buy pressure, sell pressure, volume, etc., etc. You can do your own research. But what it does look at, I'm going to talk objectively here. I'm going to give you some evidence here. So the first thing that they have is what they call the TM market indicator. And what it does is, what Token Metrics do, they actually grade individual tokens and coins. That's what they do. So this looks at all the individual grades they have in the system, and it gives you an overall grade. And it's pretty accurate, right? So back in May 2021, if we go all the way back to May, so I might have to go, so May here, all the way here. Let me go back to max if I can. The indicator went bearish. If I go back to May, where are we? May. Yeah, here we go. It went bearish at around $2.3 trillion. And then in July, it went back to bullish, right? Now, this is the thing. It's not supposed to capture the exact bottom. Like I've said, in trading, the best traders are not trying to catch the exact bottom and top. Because A, it's impossible. And secondly, you look for confirmations. You look for bounces on support. So that's what this thing does, right? So now if we look here, right, let's look at the latest mark when it actually hit bearish. If I go here, on the 10th of April, right, the 10th of April this year, the total market cap was 2.1 trillion and it flagged bearish, right? Now, the market cap right now, Ahmed, is, this is actually a little bit higher now, 1.2 to 1.3 trillion. So $900 million later, that's where we're at right now, right? And you can also there's some other things here. They've got this percentage of bullish versus bearish. Now, what this is looking at is the percentage of tokens or coins that are bullish or bearish. Like, do they have a bullish setup or a bearish setup? And you can see here that 93% of the tokens and coins have a bearish setup. They've also got this bull and bear thing here where it looks at the 60-day exponential moving average. Now, the 60-day EMA is a very good measure to see whether something is in a bull trend or a bear trend. And we can see here that 6%, like the closer we are to zero, the more trouble that we're in from a crypto point of view. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. This the last one actually I will share is Bitcoin versus altcoin season. And if we're sort of under this mark here, which is, I would say just under 50 or so, we are in Bitcoin season. If above 70, they're in altcoin season. And the reason for that is, of course, Bitcoin has taken a huge hit, but it's the most stable out of everything. So in a bear market, it's going to, in theory, go down the least, right? And it's if you had to put your money somewhere, it is the safest place, to put your money. So that's why Bitcoin season typically can be in a bull market, but it can also be in a bear market. Altcoin season is when we are firing on all cylinders, right? Anyway, so I'll keep sharing that. Like I said, if there's anything pertinent to the market update, I'll keep sharing this tool. If you want to buy it yourself, you can get a 10% lifetime discount if you use our affiliate link, but each to their own. Anyway, now going back to sort of total market cap. Now, Ahmed, if you remember, we were talking about 1.8, 1.8, 1.8. We're talking about that for a really, really long time. It was a long-term support and resistance. I drew this line probably 2-3 months ago, and you can see here that we actually bounced off of this line too. So this line's maintained consistent. We've bounced off of it. We hit a death cross here, where I think that's the 50-day EMA crossed the 20-day EMA, or sorry, we're looking at the week actually. Sorry, the 50-week EMA crossed the 20-week EMA. So that's another sort of signal that we hit bearish, and we just weren't able to recover. We weren't able to capture that. So 1.2, like that's pretty bearish stuff. We're looking at the level of, what are we? Mid last year, right? Now, can it go lower? I'm sorry to say, right now it doesn't seem like that it can go higher. It does seem like we are almost halfway. So if you look here, you can see we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've had 6, I guess, downward weeks. I'm on the week, right? This is week as well. This is not day. This is week. Now, if you get 7 historically, if you get 7 down weeks, right? If you go from 7 to 8, there's a high likelihood that we're going to continue to go down. There actually is there's a risk that there's another 50% drop to 643 million. I know it's hard to believe, and I'm not here to spread FUD and that type of thing. I promise there's some good news, but it's one of those things where if you think you waited too long, you're like, oh man, I waited too long, I can't sell, right? I waited too long. I might as well just stick it out. We might only be 50% of the way there. So it really depends on the type of tokens you have and what you're willing to sleep through, essentially, right? So what we need now, so like, and obviously we'll keep sharing this. I always talk about, every so often I talk about total market cap. We really need a green weekly candle. So that's going to go a huge way to alleviating the risk, rather, of a more significant crash. So it's not necessarily the case we're going to drop 50%, but we need to see a strong green candle and a subsequent number of green candles for us to kind of reverse that trend. Now, someone who I follow a lot, quite closely, is Raoul Paul, macro investor Raoul Paul. And now I will sort of say, guys, like the start of the year, Ahmed, we were saying, like, do not expect all-time high this year. We're going to range train. Now, did I expect it to hit this low this fast? No, not really. I thought we'd range trained a little bit more, but we were not expecting all-time highs, right? So that's definitely clear. Raoul Paul gives a really, really good summary in terms of the macro market right now and the fact that we are going through a more of a macro recession. So what he's talking about essentially is equities are already down as well. Equity markets are down, share markets are down. The bond prices are affecting everything. Oil has just been going crazy right now. So we're going through this sustained recession period, but long term, crypto is still a very viable asset class, a risk class nonetheless, but still very, very viable. He talks about the fact that the Federal Reserve decision to raise interest rates, which we knew that was going to be 7 this year, that's going to do some further damage and further, I guess, that word corrective action. So yeah, in terms of what he thinks the bottom is, he thinks it's going to be in June. So from now to June, and it could happen in a few weeks, it could happen in a month or so, but he sort of thinks that it could be June. I sort of thought if we are going to be on the 20K on the Bitcoin price, which I'm going to talk about, might be the bottom, but again, don't expect all-time high this year. So it depends on what you can sort of live through. Any thoughts on that, Ahmed, before I keep going on the Bitcoin chart?
No, I agree with you in regards to what you said. When you were looking at the VIX, even from charting understanding, when you have solid VIX like that without having the tails, being long, so you can see the tails are very short, which means like people, like it went down and then people bought back in, but they didn't buy back up enough to show some hope that it could break back up. So, and these are very solid in Japanese candlestick. There's a very solid downward trend. And I'd agree with you. And this is exactly what I also said on my YouTube channel, that we are looking at a fair enough bear market. And I would say we might be looking at maybe probably up to like 3 to 4 months of something similar to this. But that doesn't mean it's like all hope and loss, right? We're talking about, this is part of the cyclical markets, right? So we have to wait till the markets go down, and then accordingly to when a good news breaks out, looking forward to go even higher than it did in the last round, which was like 72K or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we've seen before. I know it's very, very hard if you've only been in the space for a year, even if you've been in the space for 2 years, like say you got in at 2019 and you missed the 2018 crash. It's really like the easiest thing, when in doubt, zoom out, of course, right? But what we're here to talk to you about is, because when we first had the first few dumps, right? We had some dumps here, then we had dumps here, and people are like, oh, just, dollar cost average and buy the dip. But then by the time you get to this dip here, you've already kind of tapped out. Do you know what I mean? That's very normal. Like it's a running meme.
I'm eating white rice all day long. White rice with salt.
It's a running meme. So it's important to know if we're going to keep going down. It's important to know, where we're sort of heading and what to do, right? Which is what I want to continue talking about. Now, similar thing on the, obviously, the total crypto market cap is very, correlated with Bitcoin being the biggest, coin in the space. But you can see here, we're going through that same thing as well. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the week. The other thing to do, like when you're in a sustained trend, it's good to look at the weekly candles, and definitely you're not looking at 4-hour candles, even if you're in a downtrend bear market like now. You're not doing that unless you're trading. And if you're trading, you're probably not watching this channel, you're watching other stuff, right? You're watching more, technical things. But, we're looking at the weekly right now, and we're not even, completely oversold territory, right? So when you look at here, we've got that 6-7 weeks of, and again, history tells us, and if you go back to 2018, this definitely happened. If I just fix that there, this definitely happened. We had a very, very similar pattern here. What does this look like? This is what we're going through now. We had this sustained period, a little bit of a dead cat bounce, and then we had this, and then we went lower. We went a lot lower. Like from here on, this is 6,000, and it went to 3,000. Right now, this is not a log. This is not a log chart, so it doesn't look like a lot, but it is actually a lot. If I do that, I won't stuff that around. That's another 50% drop. So it's almost like a fractal. I won't say a fractal, but almost like a fractal. So let's sort of look at where we are going at right now. So we really, really need to hold, we really need to sort of keep, 30,000, which we've obviously lost. Now, again, very, very similar to total market cap. If we don't start making consecutively weekly candles, I wouldn't be holding my breath for something to come back. I really, really wouldn't. Because again, there could be further downside. Now, in terms of where we could go to, 20,000 is around here. Right, which also hits this 786 Fibonacci level. Like between 17 and 20,000, that's a pretty good range where the bottom might be. That's where the bottom might be. If you sort of look at this, right, and always sort of say it's not just one thing, it's multiple things. If you're like, okay, look, there might be a head and shoulders here, maybe there's a head and shoulders, and you could make a case that's a messy head and shoulders. If you look at that pattern there, that also is taking us, this is saying below that level, but it's also taking us below this level here. So I guess the point is it's more likely to go down, more than anything. Now again, so that's the educated guess on why we might only be sort of halfway down. Now, if I move to Ethereum, and I wanted to look at a clean chart, not one of the charts I've been sharing in the past, just a clean chart with nothing else on it. 1950 is the next level. so if we're here, so 1950 is a level that we need to hold, right? The
Mhm.
thing is, we're at 2000 right now. Early in the day, we were at sort of 1960. So if you did have Ethereum that you have in a short-term bag, it might not be a bad time to sell. If you're thinking of selling, if you're like me, I just hold my Ethereum. I haven't been buying, I haven't been
Yeah.
selling. Even though we knew this was happening, I'm not. But if you're thinking of selling to buy it back in later, it is not the worst time to do that. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Now, again, me personally, I've been doing nothing. That's what I've been doing. That's not a bad strategy. I've been accumulating stable coins on the side and looking to invest in a lot lower DCA. Now, I've said in the past, even a bull market, bear market, a good strategy or a good rule of thumb is put aside some money, DCA in an amount of money less than what you can afford, less than. So if you can afford
Mhm.
$500, put $300. If you can afford 1,000, put $700, $600. It helps you sleep well at night. So even right now, knowing where the market's at, it is not the worst time to be DCing in. Even though you know it's going to go lower, that's why you don't invest as much as you normally do, right? And
Mhm.
once it feels like we've hit a bottom or a confirmation bounce is in play, then it's not the worst thing. If I look at this chart now, obviously this chart's a bit messier, but this will give you why I'm looking at those levels. You can see here we've lost that level. 1700 to 2000 has historically been a strong level of support. This is something I wrote months ago. If we lose 19, then we could go down to 1640 or 1650. If we lose that, then there is a chance we go to $1,000 or below $1,000, which is scary, which is absolutely scary. I'm not trying to spread FUD here. I'm still investing in Ethereum. Is one of the coins I'm still investing in, but do
Mhm.
not be surprised if that happens. Now, the funny thing is, right, is it feels like this sort of happens. It feels like the best news this month, right? The best news this month has been Ethereum, and this was just I think a day ago actually. Vitalik Buterin confirmed that Ethereum's merge could happen in August, and
Yeah.
it feels like
But he says
sometimes
that every time. But he says that every time. I
yes,
know him.
yeah, he does. He does. I know exactly what he's saying. But the point in that it's not usually him. It's not usually him.
Got
It's
it.
usually like the main like developers. So he has been a little bit gun shy lately. You're right. He's been a little bit gun shy and sort of saying that like he hasn't. He's been a little bit vague. But I was surprised
Mhm.
to see him come out and support the head developers as well. And it's funny. So even
Mhm.
before this dip, even before this crash, ETH 2.0, ETH 2.0 is coming. Deflationary ultrasound money. I'll put my hand up. I was one of those people saying that as well. And I don't think that has changed. I don't think that's it. But isn't it funny? Like that, it feels like the reason when it's the best time to sort of invest in something, all of a sudden we hit some snag. All of a sudden we're in some sort of trouble. But does that take away the fundamental reason for why we wanted to invest? No, I don't think it does. So,
Mhm.
the fact that this is coming, this will be, the most anticipated event in Ethereum 70 history, is really, really good. So they recently did the testnet merge, or I think the testnet merge either just happened or is happening, and that's going quite successfully. So if it doesn't happen in August, it could happen in September. And to be honest, Ahmed, it's actually not the worst time to have a delay. If you're going to have a delay, this is the better year to have it compared to end of last year.
I
This is
agree.
the better time
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
ETH fans out there, I think it takes a bit of pressure off because everyone's just blaming the market. You know what I mean? So just when ETH2 is around the corner, the market gets hammered. Is there manipulation at play? I'd say probably yes, but I don't think that's the worst thing. Right. So be smart, right? This thing, Ethereum, is going to be one of those coins. Like right now, you should be decent. And I might as well talk about this now, right? There are three coins that I'm looking at right now, just three. So
Mhm.
Ethereum, AVAX, and Bitcoin, right? Probably roughly in that order, to be honest. So again, not financial advice. Do whatever you want to do. It doesn't bother me the slightest. But
Why
now's not
not
the time to
XRP?
because this now's not the time you take risks. This is a time where you defend your portfolio, right? Like think about macro investors, like big investors. Everyone's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, no. I'm
institutional
pulling your
buyers.
leg. I'm pulling your
Yeah,
leg
I
because I
know
know
you
you
are.
love
That's why I went.
XRP.
That's why I went past it quickly. I would give you the same reason for Cardano. Now's not the time, right?
Yeah.
Now's the time. If you like, do not make the mistake we've had the last four cycles where you didn't
Mm.
invest in the bear market. You probably didn't even know about crypto in some
Mhm.
of these bear markets. Don't make that mistake because, 2-3 years from now, like the whole market is down. The whole market. Yes, crypto is a risk asset, so it's going to be hit harder. But when it comes back, it's going to bounce a lot harder too. It's very easy. People have very short memories, but don't make that mistake. That's why I'm saying is normally invest less than you should, DCA in a small amount. Well, this is the investment strategy, not a trading strategy. The bear market, it will probably help you start at night to invest a little bit less. I bought like 2 AVAX the other week. Like that's like $90, whatever it was. Because I'm like, oh, this is not a decent level. Knowing that it's probably going to go down as well. But I want to DCA on the way down, not on the way up. You know what I mean? So don't make that mistake. So these 3 coins, why? And this is important, right? For me. Now you could probably throw Solana in that bag as well, because they're going to be around. Ethereum's going to be around, right? One of the new pieces of news that I'll jump to right now is Cloudflare, right? So internet service provider Cloudflare to run Ethereum validator nodes as part of its Web3 focus. Now, I know Cloudflare quite well because I work in digital marketing, and Cloudflare, it's one of those, services where you can host websites and you help websites run faster. So a Web 2.0 company is investing in Web 3. Right now, they talk about the company revealed it will run Ethereum validator nodes as part of its commitment to help scale the internet proof of stake consensus blockchain. This was they're like, it's to help scale the internet, guys. It's to make more money, right? Like, just say we're investing in this to make more money. They're not a charity. We're not here to help scale the internet. You guys don't give a damn about that. You're here to make more money. So why are companies like this doing this? Because they know it's the future. So big investment institutional firms investing in Ethereum, investing in Bitcoin. And then you've got, things like AVAX, which AVAX will be correlated to Ethereum. We've spoken about AVAX in the past episodes. You can just check it out on our channel, the subnets and why it's so bullish. They're platforms that are going to be around. So the 2 of these, Ethereum and AVAX, they're layer 1s. Right, and Bitcoin is essentially a store of value in crypto. It doesn't feel like it now, but it is. So these things are going to be around. They're going to hit all-time highs again. So that's sort of my strategy, and do as you sort of want. The other thing I'll talk about. So let me go back to Ethereum. Actually, continuing on the Ethereum front, is there's a lot of stats that are that talk about the fact that Bitcoin in small holders, less than 1, are accumulating, but you got to follow the money. So that stuff I'm not even interested about. I feel like some YouTube influencers are clutching at straws. They're like, Bitcoin holders under 1 Bitcoin are accumulating. I don't really care about that. This is the type of stuff that I look at, right? Ethereum addresses holding 100 plus Ethereum just hit a 6-month high. But we are in probably the scariest time right now, because they know, they've got 100 plus, right?
Accumulating. The whales are accumulating.
They know what's happening. The miners are not selling because their mining revenue is going to go down. They're going to, get from proof of stake. And whales are, doing something smart. So this is what you do. Do the opposite of the market. We've said that before, right? The last thing I'll talk about really quickly, the third one on my rank. And notice I'm not going through every sort of, kind of coin out there. I'm talking about, what strategies that we should be focused on, what levels we should look at, and what personally I'm doing. Right. So when you look at something like AVAX, we completely lost. We had like a Fibonacci level at like $53. We completely lost that. It needs to hold $24 support. It really does need to hold that. So if you kind of look here, that is level of support that goes all the way back to what's that? Feb 2021. So over a year. So it's a very, very strong level of support. We lose that. I wouldn't be surprised if we do. I really wouldn't be surprised if we do. From there at $20, and then from there the psychological level of $10. But AVAX has a 10 to 11% staking, I guess, mechanism right now, which accounts for the inflation, because a lot of coins do have inflation. It's a long-term thing. You only need 25 AVAX to do that. So I'm buying every time we sort of go through a level. I'm buying a little bit, but less than I normally would. So, sorry, one last thing I will talk about, because this is something people are worried about, and rightly so, is Luna, right? So Luna came and crashed everyone's party, but it's arguable that these things were going to happen anyway. It's arguable that some of these things are some sort of market manipulation, which, whether that's true or not, is irrelevant. But, either way, this was going to happen. This just kind of sort of expedited. Now, the Luna Foundation does have 2 million AVAX. which isn't a crazy amount. I think it's less than 10%. So it's enough to make a dent, but it's not enough to crash this down to zero. So for the people saying that Luna is going to crash or Do Kwon is going to crash AVAX like Luna and UST, that's not going to happen. AVAX's ecosystem is not reliant on that mechanism that they have, and it's still the third or fourth highest total value locked chain on DeFi Llama as well. So probably a little bit more downside pressure, but not something I'm worried about. But that's my market update for you this week, Mr. Ahmed.
Wow. Okay, so before Mufti Bilal is waiting, but so before I let him in, I wanted to ask you. Actually, let's bring in Mufti Bilal and then let me ask the question to all you guys.
Okay, let's get him in. Mufti Billal, you can turn your camera on, please.
Hey,
Be
that's
nice to see
Mufti
you.
Bilal. How are you doing?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. How are you guys?
Doing good.
No camera this week?
I'm not sure why it's off. Okay, 1 second.
We'll let you play with that, but Ahmed, you were going to ask me something? You might as well continue with that.
So I was going to ask.
There you
okay. Hey, there you go. Look at the noor on the face. MashaAllah.
There's a beautiful face.
So the question was, so we know Luna has crashed. It was once $100. Right now it's 0.0003, which is less than a cent, 1/3 of a cent. Do you think it's something that we should buy into?
Nah, not at all.
Why? It's dead?
Like this is, we always talk about your strategy, right? I always sort of say 60, 70%, maybe 80%, maybe 70%. Have them in like long-term mammoth coins, the Ethereums, the Bitcoins, right? And then you can have like another 20% on stuff, and then maybe a small 5 to 10% on speculative. So let me go back. The answer to that is the answer to should you invest in Dogecoin or Shiba Inu. That's the strategy for that. It's useless. It's probably not gonna, like, those coins have more utility than this right now. You know what I mean?
I agree. My heart, or I shouldn't say heart. You should never be an emotional investor. Just remember that. That's one of the greatest things I learned. You have to be like a robot to invest. I would say my understanding of Kwon coming back and saying, Do Kwon, whatever his name is, coming back and saying there's a revival plan. That shows me a speck of hope in the sense that this could potentially go back to a certain price because they already have a story. They already have success. They already have a huge team. Like I'm talking about huge. They have a huge number of holders, and they have a huge number of social media and marketing presence. And I know in this industry, marketing plays a big role. So that being said, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was saying maybe it's not worth letting go of maybe 3%, 4% of your portfolio, because if it does go up, you're gonna make 100x, or you're gonna make 10x or 40x, 50x on your investment on that. But if it dies, it dies. You lost maybe $100, $200, $300. Right?
Well, and that's why I kind of changed what I said on that, like in terms of it's very speculative. Just know what you're in for. Don't be there, I'm going to make $1 million. Like, you're kidding yourself. Like, it's likely not going to happen. Like, it's likely not going to happen. You know what I mean? So, like, as long as you put it in your little speculative box, like, okay, cool, I'm going to put less than... And when I talk about 5%, like, that's the whole bucket of speculation. Within that, you might have 20, 30 coins. Yeah. So, the thing is that, you know what? We've seen this story before. This is XRP all over again, man. XRP, what's happening with XRP? Oh, we're waiting for the legal action, and then it drags and drags. Do Kwon right now has risk of going to jail, Ahmed. Yeah. He's got risk of going to jail. So forget Terra Luna. He's not worried about Terra Luna. He's worried about not, you know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah. You said it, not me. He's worried about, other things right now, right? He's doing whatever. He's a rat trying to bite the bottom of the bucket. He's least concerned about investors right now. And recently they actually did try to get more money, and they didn't get. Now, you might be completely right. They might still get that money. This could be a major manipulation play by people much richer than us, just waiting to go drop it down to zero and then rise it out of the ashes from like a phoenix. But like, you look at total value lock. Now, you say thriving ecosystem, and it has some sort of an ecosystem, but I'm looking at DeFi Llama. It's 99% down, total value locked. There's only $113 million sitting there, and it's ranked 33, and this was ranked second, so it's gone all the way down to that. So is it going to go back to the level of if you had a gun to my head and made me make a decision? I'd say no, it's not going to go back to its all-time high, but it may recover. It may get to a couple of dollars. That's still a huge kind of step up from now, but it's just XRP all over again, man. This guy's got to go through court. He has to win the market. Remember what happened with Time Wonderland when they found out that guy was involved who had defrauded people? I'm not putting him in this. I'm not putting him in this Sifu, whatever his name was. I'm not putting him in the same basket, but sure. Gamble, fine. You could be right, and I'll be very, very happy for you. I'll be very happy for you because it happens all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is.
Look, it's not a gamble only, because gamble means you don't know your chances, or you have no clue of what's gonna happen, type of thing. Here, I'm going under the basis of the structure of their organization as it currently stands. They have people, they have holders, they have money, they have a huge market presence already. It's like a lot of people talk a lot of a lot of stuff about what's that thing called? Pi Network, and now recently Pi Network has a million holders. Like, it's wild, and at any moment they can bring out something super high utility from Pi Network, and that's it. That project is gonna go high. What if tomorrow Terra Luna says something about changing up some of their codes and smart contracts and blah 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 blah, and boom, you're good. So that's what I'm saying. For me, it's worth a percentage to maybe go back it a little bit. But I mean,
I understand that. I'm not going to do it. So I would I wouldn't do it, but I can understand if someone would.
This is the reason why you have hair and I don't. all right. Let's get to the point. Mufti Billal, how are you doing? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I'm fine, alhamdulillah. How are you guys?
Alhamdulillah, very well.
Thank you so much for...
Sorry, apologies for the lag there. Any of your thoughts or comments on what we were talking about before we get into your topic?
No comments.
No comment. Yeah, and you have to be. Yeah, you can make stupid comments like if you're me, but if you make a comment or opinion, people be like, oh, he's giving a fatwa, or he's making a point, or you know what I mean? He's making a stand. So I understand you have to be a little bit more careful, which I appreciate.
Correct. Yeah. No, I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Cool.
Just follow the news.
Mufti, thank you so much for the gems that you dropped over
just to tell you though, one thing I will say though is I was actually mentioning it to Dr. Farouk last time, is that just to, obviously to show people, to tell people, how fast these things can move, is that I remember last week, Tuesday, so every Tuesday on Bloomberg TV, there is a crypto program, very interesting one. It's about half an hour or something like that. So last week, Tuesday, they were talking about the price of Luna being down to 90 cents. So that was last week Tuesday, and this week Tuesday they were talking about the demise of Luna's normal. So within a week, how fast things can move. I mean, if you watch the program from last week, there would be no hint whatsoever that within a week time, kind of thing.
I know. It just goes. No one has an idea. It goes to show, and I see why Ahmed says what he says, because it's at 0.0001. So if it got to 10x, if it got to 10 cents, that's 1,000x from now. But like guys, just be careful. Just be careful. So even and obviously Ahmed, you're saying you put a little punt, you're investing in the infrastructure and the architecture, but there's that, oh, look, what if it gets to 10 cents? Wow, that's 1,000x. I understand you put $10 in, you times that by 1,000, what's that? $10,000, whatever it is, it's very attractive, but you're right, Mufti Sab, the space moves so fast. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know what the funny thing is? If I've been in stocks much longer than I was in crypto. If anything like this happens in stocks, exchanges don't let trading happen. all of a sudden everything gets halted. There's so much control in stocks to not let the markets crash.
You can't trade Luna now, I don't think, can you? Or maybe on Dexes and stuff.
Yeah, Dexes. This is what I'm saying. This is why there's honestly, this is the whole beauty, and at the same time, the dirt of the crypto market is decentralization. But I mean, this is why crypto was made, was to decentralize. And you let the market and you let the people decide what's gonna happen. And so I don't know. Like having that difference of experience while trading in stocks versus trading, because I did at one time trade in penny stocks. Yeah, penny stocks, you'll see many times, all of a sudden it's about to crash and boom, the market stops trading. It's like, okay, well, like, but yeah, so seeing this, it's a difference of experience. And I don't know, guys comment below, what's your experience on this? What do you like it being this decentralized and letting the markets crash, or do you not like it? I personally appreciate it because coming from stocks, I can appreciate this. But yeah, Mufti Bilal, you had a very important topic this week. I guess I'll give you the floor. Let us know what you're talking about and what does the
Yes,
Islamic perspective say.
yes, thank you, Ahmed. So basically, this week I was going to talk about Fun Token, and Fun Token. I think probably many of you would have heard of it. It was kind of controversial because many football clubs around the world had kind of made millions out of the sale of Fun Token. So I think by the end of last year, 2021, there was an estimate of 350 million US dollars that was basically sold in terms of Fun Token. So what is a Fun Token, first of all, and how should we be looking at it from a Sharia perspective? Now, a Fun Token is not like an NFT. First of all, it's not like an NFT. A Fun Token is actually fungible, and basically, the Fun Token can be used by sports club or probably music fan clubs or any other organization. And these fun tokens, they basically give you access to a certain type of perk. So a bit like a membership perk. So it might give you access to voting rights. So like, for example, in the case of a football club, it might give you access to voting on minor decision. Maybe you might be able to vote on what would the kit for next year is going to look like, for example. Or it might give you access to a certain rewards. It might give you also access to a certain discount. Maybe by owning a Fun Token, you will have access. You will have a discount on the price of a ticket for a football match, for example. It might also give you access to a certain merchandise or discount on these merchandise as well. Or it might give you access to a certain type of unique experience. Maybe by owning the Fun Token, you might be able to go to the stadium and watch a football game, but that experience might be enhanced by giving you access to, I don't know, maybe you might have access to food or something like that. There's different type of rewards and perk. Now, these Fun Token, if you look at it, I mean, especially I mentioned about football clubs. The benefit for them was to actually be able to raise money. They were able to raise funds without having to make any changes to their corporate structure. Or they could be raising money by issuing Fun Token. They could raise money without even getting into any form of financial risk, for example. So like, instead, if they needed to raise money, instead of issuing, I don't know, shares, for example, they could just issue Fun Tokens and raise fund like that. Or instead of borrowing money, and having to put the club into more debt, because as like clubs, especially big football clubs, usually they they have huge amount of debt. So instead of all that, they could just issue Fun Token, yeah, and use the money, the profit, to do whatever they want with it, obviously depending on how much they can raise. So it's, in a way, the issuance of Fun Token is very profitable and beneficial for a football club. Now, from the Sharia perspective, how should we be looking at the Fun Token? What is it exactly? I think it is fair to say that a Fun Token is a type of utility, is a utility token. Okay, so just like you have utility token that give you access to certain rights, certain utilities, a Fun Token is exactly that. And from the Sharia perspective as well, I do not see how we're not going to look at it from any other perspective. I think by a Fun Token is something that gives you access to certain manafia, certain benefits, certain utilities. Now, there might be a couple of ways to look at whether the Fun Token is Sharia compliant or not. Well, first of all, to determine whether the Fun Token itself is Sharia compliant, we need to know who is issuing it. So, like, for example, if the Fun Token is issued by, I don't know, maybe a music club, for example. Yeah, so most scholars, they might think, they believe that music is haram, for example. So they will think, okay, a Fun Token related to the music industry is going to be haram as well, or a Fun Token related to, I don't know, I'm just saying it as as an example. If it's related to a form of a casino or something like that, issuing some form of, like a famous casino issuing a Fun Token, that might be haram because it is issued, by a haram industry. But when it comes to, so obviously, if it's issued by an issuer who is involved in haram, then it would make the Fun Token haram as well. Okay, put it in another way. Actually, if I am not wrong, I do not know whether it was actually under this same category, but there was a token that was issued not long ago. It's a pawn token, okay? But it was issued by Madonna the singer. Now, I don't know whether it was a Fun Token or whether it was an NFT. I'm not sure. But as an example, let's say if Madonna was to issue, or a porn actress or porn actor issuing a Fun Token, that would make it haram. Do you understand? If it's in relation to giving you access to that particular service or to that particular industry, that is haram in itself. Now, when it comes to Fun Token related to sports, for example, like football, then there might be a question mark from certain scholars, who might think that, and I probably would say, I would feel comfortable to say, a minority of scholars who might think that football is haram, for example. So if they think football is haram, then that would make the Fun Token automatically haram as well. So first of all, to determine whether the Fun Token is haram or not is based on who is issuing, okay? Then if we think, okay, everything is fine, okay, the Fun Token is issued by somebody, and we're going to go with the opinion that we're going to use football as an example because that's the most common one. And we're going to go with the opinion that football is actually permissible. Now, a club who is issuing a Fun Token, and again, I am not a fan of Manchester United, Manchester City. I'm just giving an example. So if, for example, Manchester City is issuing a Fun Token, now, how are we going to determine whether that token is permissible in itself or not? So we know that there's nothing wrong with football, and we also know that the token is in relation to access to certain rights or access to certain utilities. Now, some scholars, they might still feel that the Fun Token is problematic because usually these utilities that are attached to such a token, they are not correctly quantified, or we cannot really identify them correctly. What does that mean? Is that, for example, we know that Fun Token is going to give you access to discount, for example, but for how much and on what exactly? We don't always know. we know, it might be that you're going to have access to discount on the ticket, attending a football match, but they might add more rights later on. You don't know that. Maybe you think, or they promise you that you will be able to vote, but maybe you're not going to have access to vote. Maybe you don't know what you're going to be voting for. We know obviously it's not going to be major decisions. They're going to be votes on minor things, but you don't know what, on what exactly you're going to be voting in the future. Or you don't always know as well for how long you're going to have access to these utilities. I mean, for how long are you going to be voting for? Is it something that is eternal, meaning until, you die, for example, or until, they keep the token live, for example? We don't know that. So from this angle, a lot of scholars would probably say that because there's an element of uncertainty in the rights or in the utilities that are available to you, then this might be problematic and might make the Fun token as impermissible. Similarly, they might say that, because we don't know for how long you're going to have access to these utilities or to these rights, so that as well might make the token as being impermissible. So this is one way to look at it. The second way to look at it is to say that Fun token, again, is not permissible because it is a kind of speculative asset. And it is very volatile. And, there has been, I think, I don't know about now, but before, they stop, Arsenal Football Club from advertising, I think, their Fun token. Okay? Because, it falls under the category of crypto, and crypto is very volatile and people do not understand it. They might be losing their money, etc., etc. So a lot of people believe, a lot of critics believe that Fun token is actually a very speculative asset. And we know that, a lot of these tokens that have been sold, their values have dropped down. So people, what they're saying, the critics are saying that people are buying these tokens in the hopes that the price of these tokens are going to go up and they will be able to sell it and make profit out of it, which is usually the case, with most people who buy crypto, basically. Yeah. So a lot of people, just like a lot of scholars should say, that who believe, like, for example, they made the same analysis in regards to Bitcoin initially, that, the Bitcoin is a very speculative asset, and, it's very volatile, etc. And people are buying it as if they're betting on it, and so much halal behind it, and it's like similar to gambling, etc. They will probably come to the same conclusion when it comes to Fun token as well, and they will say that, it is not permissible. Okay, and again, there are critics about it. You have probably a lot of articles out there that points toward this direction. However, I personally, my personal opinion, I would not agree with that. Okay, I would not agree with that. And first of all, I believe that again, obviously, each token, must be analyzed individually. Okay, remember that. This must be remembered. Yeah, I am not giving a general opinion that all Fun tokens are Sharia compliant. That is not what I am saying. But what I'm saying is that each token must be analyzed individually. However, some of these concerns that I have mentioned, for me, they are not problematic. For example, when it comes to football club Fun token, for example, although that I have mentioned that these rights and these benefits, these utilities that you have access to, that they are not always, identified correctly, or we might not know, for how long you're going to get access to. I believe that it's minor. It's not problematic at all from a Sharia perspective. Why do I believe that? I believe that because a Fun token, a Fun token should be judged on what it actually represents in its primary status, not in its secondary status. The primary status of a Fun token is is for fun. That, you know, as the name is indicating, it's a fun token. And you know, when you have love for your football club, etc., you want to be part of it. You want to engage with that club as much as possible. And the fun token is giving you that chance and that opportunity to engage with the token. And after that, it doesn't matter what perks, you know, come with it. You know, these utilities, they're minor, they're secondary. And there is a legal, how do you call it? There is a rule in jurisprudence that says, you know, that what can be forgiven in, you know, the secondary things, yeah. There are certain things that can be forgiven in the secondary matters, but they are not usually forgiven in the primary matters. Meaning that sometimes the gharal, for example, the gharal in an asset that you're selling, yeah, if the gharal is in the actual primary asset that you're selling, then, you know, is not going to be forgiven, yeah, and therefore, you know, is going to make the contract as impermissible and you cannot trade with it. However, some certain things, they come as secondary. They're not the primary things of that asset. They're not the primary things of that commodity. When you're buying it, yes, you're going to get certain things that is going to come with it, but you're not buying the asset for that purpose. Yeah. So these secondary issues that come and that follow, even if we do not know about them or we cannot identify them, then it's fine. You know, we can look away and think, okay, it's fine. It's not going to make the contract as impermissible. So here in the case of Fun Token, when you're buying a Fun Token, you're not buying it. I mean, the purpose, there might be people that are actually buying it to gamble on it. Yeah. But how are we going to judge that? I mean, each person is different. Yeah. But most people, you know, who get involved in you know, when they buy membership, for example, from their club, it's because they want to be part of it. They love their club. They want, you know, they are happy to give money to the club so that the club can succeed, or they want to be engaging, you know, with the club. They want to feel that they are part of the club, and that is a primary objective of, you know, what people, you know, fans, you know, usually they want. And this is why there is, you know, Socios, which is an app, you know, that sells Fun Token. They have said that they believe that most of the users are not here to speculate. They're not speculators. They're here to engage. You know, they're here to buy Fun Tokens so that they can engage with their clubs. So now, after that, these utilities, they're just secondary. Whether you can quantify them or not, it doesn't matter. In fact, even if these rights or these utilities, they're accessible, you know, for an unlimited amount of years, you know, even from a Shia perspective as well, it might not be problematic, because there are some types of hukuk, certain type of rights that are called, you know, hukukul urfiyya, you know, they're customary rights. And sometimes it might include, I don't know, rights to water, for example, or rights, you know, of passage, for example. Yeah. And many scholars have said that, you know, if these rights are accessible, you know, forever or for an unlimited amount of time, it's fine as well. Some scholars have said, no, it's not fine. You need to know for how long, etc. But some scholars say, no, even if it's unlimited, it's fine. So I personally believe that, you know, the fact that, you know, these rights are accessible for an indefinite amount of years, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because these rights are secondary anyway. People would not be buying Fun Tokens, yeah, for these things. I mean, again, people's intention is different, but what is the intention behind the Fun Token itself? Again, remember, the club who is issuing the token is doing it so that they can raise money, and is doing it to give the chance to the fan to be closer, to feel closer to the club. That is the intention. These things, these utilities, these rights, they come after, you know, they're just secondary. Okay, so that's my my take on it. That, you know, fun tokens, you know, from football clubs, etc., they should be permissible. unless you have access to something, to certain utilities that are completely haram, etc. But overall, I do not see any issues with fund tokens issued by a football club. But each token as well must be analyzed individually. Now, some scholars might also say that, you know, fund tokens from football clubs, etc., you know, like, do they have any benefit in itself? Are they giving any benefit to you? Are they bringing any value to the economy, or to, you know, are they bringing any value to society? They might be making that judgment from that perspective. But I think you know, this concept of value, you know, is very abstract. Okay, you see, there are certain benefits, yeah, that is acknowledged by the Sharia. Okay, and there are certain harm that is also acknowledged by Sharia. Okay, but then there are certain things, you know, we don't know whether it's going to benefit or is going to cause harm. Yeah, or whether we can consider something as a waste, for example, extravagant. At what point do we consider something to be extravagant? What is, you know, there is a hotel called, I think, Corinthia Hotel in London. It's a hotel in London. Okay, and I think it's about 2,000 pound a night. Okay, and you know, the manager once, he said that, you know, how do we define luxury? How do we actually define luxury? You know, at what point, you know, luxury is different from people to people, from one person to person. For certain people, spending 2,000 pounds a night for one night, yeah, it might be something which is, you know, it is something we can call luxury. But for certain people, you know, just sitting on their own, having some fresh air, they might feel that this is, you know, something we can classify as luxury. Do you understand? So it's very difficult, you know, to determine certain things. So in here as well, when we are buying fund tokens, you know, if we say, oh, but you know, the fund token might bring, the reason why I'm saying that, yeah, is that actually when sorry, I need to plug my laptop. But you know, when we issued, you know, the Marhaba token, there was the same objection, I think. Okay, that what does Marhaba token actually represent at the time? You know, at the time of doing the ICO, it's representing rights, is representing utilities. But what are these utilities? We do not know. Some people, they would have said that we do not know. Now, the primary objective of the Marhaba token was to actually create a community. Okay, it was to create a community around something that is Sharia compliant, an ecosystem that is Sharia compliant. That was the primary objective. That was the whole idea behind Marhaba DeFi, a place, an ecosystem where Muslims can come, where people who are looking for ethical investment can come and interact. That was a primary objective. The rest, you know, access to rights, etc., they were just secondary. Okay. Now, people might say, you know, is the token itself bringing any value, or is it bringing any benefit to society? Some people might feel yes, it does. Some people might feel no, it doesn't. Yeah. The way I see it is, as long as these rights and benefits, they do not go against Sharia, first of all, then there's no problem with it. Secondary, as long as these benefits and these rights, yeah, they do not corrupt your relationship between yourself, or your relationship between yourself, I mean, between yourself I should say within yourself, relationship within yourself, meaning the benefits and right does not corrupt your morality, or it does not corrupt, you know, it does not make you somebody, you know, who's going to be staying up all night, you know, like, for example, playing games and stuff like that, and you're killing yourself, and you know, you're killing your health, etc. As long as it doesn't do any of that, as long as it doesn't corrupt your relationship between yourself and the people around you, society, your family, etc., etc., hukuk al-ibad, basically. And as long as it doesn't, make you corrupt the relationship between yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning it doesn't take you away from worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there is nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with it.
Okay. So I guess you summarized it pretty well. It's all dependent on the niyyah and the use cases, and that will determine if which specific lineage that fan tokens coming from is permissible or not. And I think, guys, a lot of various aspects were touched upon within the last few minutes. So I would highly recommend pause here, go back and rewatch what different categories and which different things that you need to look out for. The Mufti Billal has said, and note it down, and then go into seeing, okay, am I going to be buying this fan token? Am I going to be buying this fan token? Because quite honestly, even I was asked this question, and I have the same personal opinion on that. But on a lighter note, Mufti Billal, are you going to be buying any fan tokens? Maybe Barcelona, maybe Manchester United. No?
I'm too lazy to buy even a meaningful token.
Arsenal? What Arsenal?
Leave alone, the rest.
Fair enough. Okay, but Moby, if it could be, which fan token would you get?
It's funny. I'm just laughing. Mufti Sab doesn't want the hate messages. How could you, support Manchester? Like, I don't know if you know, Ahmed, in the UK, they're very fanatical.
I do know.
I mean?
Yeah.
Only thing I will say is I support France. That's it.
That's it. Who?
France. He supports France.
France. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I don't understand English Premier League. I don't really support any team there. But if I was going to, I would probably buy like Habib UFC NFT or like something related to, and I know it's not NFT, but like if there was a fan token for the UFC or whatever. But the point is, it's passion, right? It's communities. It's people rallying around communities. So it's easy for someone to say, "Oh, I wouldn't buy a soccer token," but you probably would buy for something that you love. You probably would if you had a right, like the Mufti Sub said, you had a right to vote on things and get merch. Of course, you would. So those things aren't going away.
Maybe looking at the situation right now in Pakistan, we should do a fan token for Pakistan so people can vote
Imran
properly.
Khan. Yeah. I sacrificed my life for Pakistan.
Exactly. Okay. Let's. So, what are the MRHB updates? So this has been some time.
So Mufti Sab, you want to stay on or you want to jump off?
No.
Yes.
I'll take your leave. Is that okay?
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Take care of yourself.
Okay. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. So market updates Marhaba updates. So what's going on with Marhaba? Where are we right now? The market's crashed, but what's Marhaba doing? Okay. Huge update coming up on Monday. We're doing a live roadmap presentation from Mr. Nakib, the CEO, Mr. Janice, the CTO, and I'll be in between kind of moderating that and facilitating that session. It's going to be live on YouTube, on Telegram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and also on one more platform I'm forgetting. But so it's going to be going live all at once. And honestly, if you have questions, get it to us as soon as possible on our Telegram or get it to us through our other social medias. I don't know if this video will be out by then. It will be out by then. So put it in the comments and I will try to get all these questions to them so they can answer it. And we're not holding back on anything. We are telling about every single product that is within the next 6 months and what is coming out, which feature sets are coming out. Because Sahal Wallet now is a ready-to-use product now. There's recent updates about, I think, 12 features that got uploaded on there, and it's phenomenal. One of my favorite features is actually the contact feature, where you can add contacts. Like, for example, if Moby sends me his wallet address, I can add it there. And then I don't have to constantly copy paste. Because you don't know how many times I have to do that. I have to go back on WhatsApp, see the address of the certain person, copy it, paste it, and then send the X amount of money that I have to send it to them. And it's just like those little things.
It's too much.
It gets annoying. Yeah, it's because it's the privilege of being in this current times that
you got to copy paste the OX 412. You can make a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also sometimes I have to scan. Why do I need to scan stuff? Just it should be there. I love it. So a lot of features have. So it's a fully ready to use wallet, and the next features that are coming up. There's so many more features that are coming up. We've taken your questions, your advice, your feedback. We've taken looking at the competition of the market, looking at what the market has in these non-custodial wallets, and we went one step forward and we started seeing how strategically we can benefit the people with all of this combined. And so there's more features that are going to be coming up in the next few months. So if you want to know what features there are for the Sahal wallet, for the Souk NFT, for the liquidity harvester, and this new product which we're talking about, which is called Miro, come out onto the roadmap on Monday. I think it's something that you don't want to miss out if you're an investor, even if you're not an investor, if you're just someone that believes in this product or just knows about this product, check it out. And also um, like share this with your friends. Honestly, share this with your friends because that Monday presentation is gonna be very informative and it's gonna let you guys know exactly what Marhaba is being, what has it done, what it's gonna be doing right now, and what's the future look like. So a lot of exciting things there.
And that's going to be
So let me.
live, right? Is that on YouTube, Ahmed? That's going to
It'll
be
be
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube,
This channel. Yep.
Telegram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Like we're using Restream. If nobody knows, we're using so within Restream. There's a way that you can go live on every single social media at one time, one boom, and so we're gonna be doing that. So yeah, okay. So now let me share my screen and talk about a few other updates, which I think are very important. So let me share. Moby, just let me know when you can see my screen and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got it.
Fantastic. So, um, we have up within this upcoming week or 2 weeks, we have a lot of events that we're going to be present at in Dubai, like over virtual methods, where really big names are coming up. For example, the HIT Halal in Travel Global Summit is having few really big names come down to be speaker, and within this event, we also have Nakeem. You can see the Vice President, Republic of Indonesia. We have the Deputy Prime Minister of Tourism. So all of these guys, there's really big names, and Nakib is going to be there talking. Our CEO is going to be talking at this event also. Just like that, there's four other events that are coming up this week. I should have opened those things, but which are in Dubai, which I'm going to be going to, and also Dr. Farouk Habib is going to be going to, and Khalid Hollander, who's our board advisor. He's going to be speaking at some of these events, and so is Dr. Farouk Habib is going to be talking at these events. I'm going to be going there, networking, finding great partnerships for you guys, like I did at the previous events, and hopefully that comes and benefits the Marhaba project at large. So we're going to be at Seamless, we're going to be at BSV, we're going to be at Halalverse, and we're going to be at the IFN Islamic Finance Network event, which is happening this week or the week after. So all of these events are happening, and we're going to be there. In On top of all these events, we're also currently at the Kazan Summit, which is talking about the International Economic Summit in Kazan, and we are representing the Islamic finance aspects, the halal and ethical DeFi aspects, and we have our team there right now. They're networking, showing people about Marhaba, and just like marketing the product out there. Now, with all those events, it's very important to stay updated on what's happening at these events. So you got your LinkedIn, you got your Twitter, you got your Telegram that gets updated, but we are also on Instagram. So we recently started posting on Instagram, and I'm making it kind of public that we have our Instagram live. There are posts on there. People are using it. Here, I'll kind of open it up so you guys can see. There you go. So you guys can see there's posts on there. You can see there's interactions happening, and everything's gonna be pushed on there. And there's gonna be some special content, like 1 minute small clips that are gonna be posted on there very soon. Which is we're gonna try to Instagram specific content, and then that way you only get that content on Instagram. So start following our Instagram and check out what updates come on there and interact with us. Let us know what you think. It'd be great to hear back from you guys. And then, as I already talked to you guys about the Sahal wallet and its updates, we'll be linking the details the um, to the Instagram in the description below. So do check us out and do follow and share it to your friends, invite people, and it'll be and check out, what's happening in that sense. But yeah, those are the updates as of now. There's a lot of things that happen in between, which I mean, could have been updates, but I think we don't have time to get into details of those specific nitty gritties. But the bigger lens, this is what's happening, and this is what we're looking forward to. Come out on Monday, you're gonna get a lot of interesting and a lot of updates on what the future of Marhaba is gonna look like. I'm very excited, to be very honest with you. Sitting in those meetings, setting up that roadmap, helping with the roadmap, it was like I'm excited to see, because then honestly, migrate everything from Trust Wallet to Sahal Wallet, and migrate everything from Binance to there, because it's pretty much a better version and easy to use, and everything's permissible to use. So yeah, exciting stuff. Moby, anything from your side? Do you think I missed something? Do you think I need to tell people about something about Marhaba that I haven't told them? You're on mute. You're on mute.
There we go. Yeah. You have the really, really exciting stuff. One little thing you touched on there, which I think is so important. You mentioned taking things off Binance exchanges with such a robust wallet like Marhaba, and the more and more features coming. We always say this, just a little small public service announcement, not your wallet, not your coins type of thing, right? So you should get stuff off exchanges. If Robinhood collapses, if Binance collapses, if Coinbase collapses, they're not going to pay you first. They're going to pay their creditors first. You could lose your stuff. So just a little side note there. But it was a good little reminder for me as well. But I mean, awesome, man. Long show, long show back. But yeah, nothing more to add there.
I mean, we were off for some time. So, and then yes, again, don't forget what happened with Quadriga GX, right? So it's in your benefit to get things off exchanges. One big update I forgot to which I forgot to tell you guys. We are expanding our team heavily. We have a lot of new developers because we're developing a lot. We have 4 products in the upcoming 6 months, which are either already delivered or being worked on, or new ones that are coming. So from the development team and the tech team, we already expanded, and we are looking for more. So if you're someone in that sphere and wants to work on this project and can bring value to the project, do not forget to email us your resume and what your interests are. And the second thing is we also expanded the marketing team heavily when it comes to strategic overview. We've hired on 2 really accredited and really achieved individuals in the crypto world, and they're going to be helping with strategy building for with all of Marhaba's ecosystem, but also specifically for the products of Sahal Wallet and Souk NFT, as that's already been launched. So there's some really exciting stuff happening there too, and we're gonna try to take this time of bear market and pump out the projects, make them world class, and then you guys can use them as soon as bear market finishes and bull market starts. It's gonna be a lot of hype. That's about it.
This is when we build, right? We build in the bear market. All the big projects did that. Matic did that. That's when it happens. Awesome stuff, Ahmed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's about it. Those are the updates. Moby, any last few points that you want to leave the listeners with?
All good, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. I know it's been a while. We're back in action, and I'll see you next time.
Take care of yourself. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Don't forget, and comment in the comment section, and check out the description for the new updates. Take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.